Genius Hour project. My thick question is, what is dirt track racing and how has it evolved? Why is this project worthwhile to me? It's worthwhile to me because I love dirt track racing and I hope this project has an influence on others to like dirt track racing as much as I do. The process I took, I brainstormed my thick question, I collected information from my PowerPoint, and then I made my presentation. The evolution of dirt track racing. Dirt track racing started in the United States before World War I and became widespread during the 1920s and 30s, using both automobiles and motorcycles. Dirt track racing is the single most common form of racing in the United States. Evolution of dirt track racing. As a sport spread, two styles of cars came to the forefront, cars with fenders and cars without. Nowadays, there are several different types of cars that vary to different degrees. What does an official racing program look like? Long before the spectators filled the stands, water is sprayed on the track, and the cars drive around the track at slower speeds. Most tracks have tailgaters, so they don't use cars to pack the track, and since it's harder to surface race. A night of dirt track action begins with hot laps, a couple of laps around the track at race speed, for drivers and teams to get their cars ready for competition. Heat races start following hot laps and the national anthem, with the qualifying order set by a blind draw at driver sign-in. The result of the heat races determines the starting order of the cars, with the fast timer on the pole for the main event, second fastest on the outside of the pole, and so forth. If there are a considerable amount of cars in a division, the track may decide to run more than one main event per division. The top finishers in the heat races would transfer into the A main, which is the main feature, while the others would run in a B main. Then the top finishers in the B main would transfer to the main feature at the rear of the field. My mentor and what they shared with me, my mentor is Lily Reps. She said she got into racing when she was just 4 years old. When she was 9, she went and helped out in the pits. She said that was a great learning experience. She then wanted to race, and she got a slingshot, which is basically the starter class of race cars, and raced that for 3 years, and now she races in the B-Mod division, which was always her dream, and she's going into her second year racing in that division. Quarter midgets, I'm going to talk about all the different types of cars now. Quarter midgets are a popular class of entry-level racing and the next step up from racing karts. A quarter midget is 1/4 the size of a full midget sprint car. Drivers are usually restricted to the ages of 5 to 16 years old, and there are around 4,000 quarter midget racers in the United States. Micro sprint car. Micro sprint car is the next class of a race car found on dirt tracks after quarter midgets. They are smaller versions of full sprint cars and must run a side-mounted chain driven by a 600cc motorcycle engine. They can either be winged or non-winged, depending on track regulations. Their chassis and body style is of a full-size sprint car or midget sprint car. Minimum weight for a wing sprint is 750 pounds, while a non-wing must weigh 725 pounds. They're very cost effective, and ages 12 or older can find enjoyment in this class. Midget sprint car. Midget packs a lot of power into a small package, and these cars feature a very high power to weight ratio and typically use 4-cylinder engines. Midget engines have about 300 to 400 horsepower while only weighing 1,000 pounds, which makes these cars extremely fast and very dangerous. Full safety roll cages are mandatory for this exact reason. They're designed to run relatively short sprint style races. Non-wing sprint. Historically speaking, all sprint cars were non-winged, and it wasn't until the 1960s that wing sprint cars began to overshadow their non-wing counterparts. However, there's still a strong following for non-wing sprint cars. This type of sprint car is harder to control as traction is harder to find, and the cars spend more time sideways, putting a premium on driver skills and offer more side-by-side racing. This also makes them extremely dangerous, and there's been an increase in serious and fatal injuries leading to non-wing sprint cars being banned on certain tracks. Stock cars, street and pure stocks. Street stocks are a rough and tumble class of production-based race cars. This class is the most numerous on the local dirt track due to the fact that few modifications are allowed, and a car can be brought from a local junkyard and brought up to racing standards. A team has to simply strip the car of all unnecessary components and add a safety roll cage and go racing. Depending on the track, they can be called street stock, pure stocks, hobby stocks, boom or showroom stocks, or U-cars. Super dirt late models. A dirt super late model is the top class found at the local level and is the primary car type used in the regional and national tour series throughout the United States and Canada. These cars feature steel constructed tube frame chassis with aluminum bodies that give them sleek aerodynamic appearance of a stock race car, but there's nothing stock about these 2,300 pound machines. The cars are powered by an 850 horsepower engine that can turn in excess of 9,000 RPM. The engines are based on V8 Chevy, Ford, and Mopar power plants. These cars are considered to be the most sophisticated cars in dirt track racing. They hit speeds well over 100 miles an hour and slide around the corners of the track. They are raced on dirt tracks throughout the country, anywhere from a quarter mile to a half mile in length.
Let me see what I said. Hold on. Again.
B-mods go about 80 to 90 miles an hour and turn anywhere from 6,000 to 7,500 RPMs. And you have pull bars, gear, open or crate motor shocks to springs that you can adjust to adapt to a slick or hammer down track. An A-mod and B-mod look very similar. The front ends are the same. It's the rear suspension that's the big difference between the two classes. These go a little faster than B-mods. These are just all the different sanctioning bodies, all the different tour series, the World of Outlaws sprint cars and late models. And then you have the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Those are like the top in national racing. IMCA, UMP, United States Auto Club, USRA, and USMTS. This video just offers a perspective of what a driver goes through in a race car. In conclusion, through this project I've learned that there are many different classes of cars that people can race. I also learned a lot of things I didn't know about racing from my mentor. Sources. First source is where I gathered most of my information on all the cars. And second source, I gathered information about the racing program. And third source, I gathered more information about the race cars, and my mentor, I got